Good morning. You're tuned to Tennessee Mornings on Fox 17 and News Radio 1510 WLAC. We have news, weather, traffic, plus entertainment and more. Hey, glad you're with us on Tennessee Mornings at 6:52. Face Facts on the way from Dr. Deb's office. And you know, since Face Facts began with Dr. Deb, viewers have had a variety of questions about the different aesthetic treatments for the aging face. Well, Lynn Matthews, cosmetic RN, is here to answer some of the most frequently asked questions to cover some of the important topics from the Sherman Aesthetic Center. You know, I think more and more people are getting to be relaxed and opening up about looking for ways they can change this aging thing, right?
Definitely. They love it.
All right. I'd say the most promising procedure for most, and I'm going by what Dr. Deb has discussed here, Botox, right?
Botox is. It is the most popular with the Sherman Aesthetic Center, but not only the Sherman Aesthetic Center, it is the most popular in the whole nation. 3.7 people, Charlie, this year decided to have Botox.
Really?
It's fabulous.
3.7 million people, is it?
3.7 million
that is a lot.
Alone.
That is a lot.
I have a photo I'd like to show you.
I promised photos, and here we go. Let's take a look at it.
Before and after. This is a younger lady that had a really furrowed brow, real deep brow, and she had those lines. This is her frowning before Botox and after Botox.
That's the 11 we've talked about before, right?
Oh, she's losing it.
You mentioned young. How young are people who are using the Botox treatments?
People, typically, if they genetically have that predisposed lower brow and they keep squeezing that brow and making the lines, they'll come in younger to do a maintenance thing, so they will not develop those lines.
I got you.
Even as young as in the 20s.
The frowning will develop those lines.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, Botox, of course, we talked about that, and if you add the fillers to Botox, that's when you get the effect that really makes a difference.
Marriage partnership.
Okay.
When you smooth out the upper part of the face to get rid of those 11s and those lines, and then when you've done nothing on the lower part of the face, it just doesn't look
match.
Right. It doesn't match. So here's the before and after of, again, another younger woman that genetically she was losing her support collagen system around her mouth earlier than what she should have. This is a 30-minute quick procedure, and look at the results. Okay,
now while we're looking at this photo here, you see the difference of the lines around the mouth. Right. That's not Botox. Is that a filler?
That is not Botox. That is filler such as Juvederm and Restylane and the new FDA-approved Perlane. It's just to pull up and plump up those areas that have sunk in.
So I see what you're talking about. It's a team effect. If you use the Botox up around the eyes, the forehead or whatever to get rid of those wrinkles, you have to do the rest or it's not going to work right.
Correct.
Okay.
Look at the wow. The combination, when you do the upper and the lower, you have the wow, the complete package there.
You know, people are still asking questions, I think, about Botox. It's completely safe, though, right?
Totally safe. It's a purified protein.
There you go.
It's safer than really aspirin.
I think a lot of people started questioning because they had these, what they call them, Botox parties out in California.
Nightmares.
Those are nightmares.
Nightmare parties, yes. Do not. That's why it's so important to come to the Sherman Aesthetic Center. Someone that knows what they're doing and has had years of experience.
Dr. Deb is a master injector,
yes, she
and that's important to know. Okay, now let's talk about some of the categories we've discussed earlier. And those are the sinkers, squeezers, and saggers. Now, I know that sounds...
What is that?
But they're categories you guys use, right?
Right. Dr. Sherman has often spoken of the sinkers and the squeezers and the saggers. And I have photos I want to show you to explain those areas. Number one, this is a sinker. She has sunken in as far as her collagen has been diminished due to the aging process. This is a 30-minute procedure, and you can go from that to that.
In 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
It's instant.
And a sinker, exactly, a sinker is filler appropriate. Okay, the next one is our squeezers. This guy is a professional. He raises his forehead muscle in just conversations, and typically, being a businessman, look at the difference of the lines, the road maps, and the forehead. This is before Botox, him raising his forehead muscle, and this is after.
Right. Now, we want to point out that's not what he looks like normally.
No, this is a deliberate raising going, oh, really? And how many times do we say, oh, really?
What a difference that makes.
It's a huge difference.
My goodness.
And that is the squeezers is Botox.
Okay, now to explain what's going on here.
This I love because there's your sinkers, there's your squeezers, and this is a sagger. A sagger is when, look at her eyes and look at, not only does she look older, not only does she look exhausted, But her eyesight is diminishing because look at the peripheral, the sides of her vision, it's obscured. So this is Saggers, and this is definitely surgical. A procedure that you'd have to have surgery with to get the loose skin.
But look what a
excised.
difference it makes there.
It just opens her eyes up and makes her eyes pop once again like it did maybe 15 years ago.
You know, the important thing is, you mentioned you stop by the office, you get a facial analysis. What's involved in that? When you make an appointment and say, I want to come in for a facial analysis, what's going to happen?
It's the most important thing that I think that we can offer at the Sherman Aesthetic Center.
Okay.
It helps not only the patient but also the specialist. You come in and we listen to you and you tell us what bothers you. That's what we're targeting. That's what we're trying to fix. Not make you do something that you're not even in, you know, it doesn't bother you at all. Right. You look in a mirror, and that way we can tell you realistic expectations.
And can you get the procedure done then if you want it?
Absolutely. It depends on which type, you know, you're a candidate for, which type of treatment.
Sure.
But definitely, if you want it, we can accommodate.
All right, let's tell you what Dr. Deb is offering at the Sherman Aesthetic Center. Free facial analysis for the next 10 callers. If you're one of the 10 callers this morning at 297-5798, keep your appointment. They have a special gift for you when you make the appointment.
It's a surprise.
Yeah, there you go. But a free facial analysis is a good way to start. Lynn, you guys do wonderful work out there.
Thank you.
Say hello to Dr. Deb for us.
I'll do it.
Okay, we have more coming up here on Tennessee Mornings.